The absurdity and the obscenity of prices being affixed to each one should they be placed up for sale.
If you can find what is your passion, if you find what you love, you never get tired. Or if you do get tired, if you're fueled by the energy of your work. And you know what you're supposed to do by how it feels. And so you know if you're doing the right thing, if it feels like it's right to you. And when you hit the thing that feels right, you know it's right because it gives you your juice, and you know it's right because you would do it for nothing.
You have to release the notion, give up the hope that the past could have been any different. And you also must release the idea that people would do what you might do in any given instance. Expecting people to do what you would do in a situation only leads to your disappointment. My life is fueled by my being, and the being fuels the doing. So I come from a centered place. I come from a focused place. I come from compassion, it's just my nature. I come from a willingness to understand and to be understood. And I come from wanting to connect. I mean, the secret of that show for 25 years is that people could see themselves in me. Even as I became more and more financially successful, which was a big surprise to me. But what I realized is through the whole process, because I'm grounded in my own self, that although I could have more shoes, so I could keep my feet on the ground even though I could get more shoes. And I could understand that it really was because I was grounded. I've done the was doing and continue to this day to do the consciousness work.
One of the greatest tools you have at your disposal in your journey to becoming successful is failure. Not only your failure, but other people's failures as well. It is one of the most underrated tools when it comes to learning how to grow and how to become successful. Failure has this massive negative connotation, which yes, failing does suck. Failing isn't fun, but it's necessary for you to learn and for you to understand how things work. Thomas Edison took hundreds of times to build a light bulb. If he would have given up or not taken any of that information that he had failed with, we would never have light. But he didn't. He learned from each and every time he failed. He took that information and learned what didn't work so that eventually he could find what worked. We learn the most and understand so much more when things don't go our way. Then you're forced to change, you're forced to grow, and you're forced to learn what you can improve upon and how you can improve upon it, and what ways and avenues truly work for you in order to increase your productivity to become successful. It always works out that the last time you do something is the most successful you will be. So if you go ahead and stop after 3 or 4 attempts, that's not going to work. You're going to have to keep doing it, improving upon it each time, so that way the last time you do it is the time that you succeed. And once you do that, you'll be so thankful for each and every time that you failed, because you learned something, you gained something that will further improve how you operate and how you go about your life.
Everything is fueled that comes from me really wanting to be a better person on earth. And this is what I know to be true. The reason why the show worked is because I understood that audience, my viewers, the people who watched us every day and would come and, just like you all did, get tickets, and they would come with their family. You all just came across campus, but that's good too. People would come from all over the world. I had such regard for that.
Being a multisensory personality and recognizing that what your 5 senses could see was just a part of what it meant to be a human being. That there was so much more to what we see beyond what we can see and beneath what we can see. And that all things carry a physical energy and also a metaphysical energy, that which is beyond what we can see or know.
Only weighs you down and prevents you from being who you're meant to be right now, because you're still energetically holding on to the past. The energy that you put into constantly rewinding to the resentment only keeps you stuck. It will never change what happened. You gotta press stop and reject the urge to keep replaying so that you can then fast forward into the now for yourself.
My biggest frustration is not just with young women. My biggest frustration is also with young men, young people who think that, and I have a lot of this with my girls in college, they think that success is supposed to happen like that. And so my frustration with young women and young men is that they think it's supposed to happen like this, and they don't understand that there's a process to it. There's no such thing as an embarrassing moment, because I know that there is not a moment that I could possibly experience on the air that somebody else hasn't already experienced. So when it happens, you say, it's no big deal. That was, for me, the beginning of realizing that, oh, you can laugh at yourself and you can make a mistake and it's not the end of the world. You don't have to be perfect. Biggest lesson for me for television, because then it didn't matter. It was very difficult for me to figure out where my boundaries were, because I'd grown up poor and didn't have anything. So it's easy when you don't have anything and people ask you for money. So the reason why people keep showing up is because my intention is to make them think that I'm such a nice person,